So here's our challenge. We have to determine if two words are an anagram or not. Anagram is when two different words share the same letters. For example, we have cinema and we have Iceman. From now on, I will try to introduce more visual elements into my work. So, because I think it's what the channel is about. So how can we determine if two words are the same or not? Say, for example, cinema. We could destructure it like this word C has come one time up until now. I is one time, N is one time, E is one time, M is one time, and A is one time. How about Iceman? Well, we see the same structure. C is one time, I is one time. So we see if we want to do it like this, we probably have to do it like an object, where you have key, which is the letter, and value, the frequency, how many times this letter has come. And if we do it like this, these two objects are exactly the same. But how can we do such a thing? Well, first we have to make this an array or split it. Then we have to create key value pairs. For this we will use reduce. So what we can do, we introduce a function called anagram, which introduce let's say string 1, string 2. It takes these two arguments or parameters. Let's start with string 1. Here we have to create object from string 1 through reduce. Well, string 1, let's just store it. Const word 1 equals string 1. First we split it to make an array out of every letter, then reduce. Now here reduce takes a base case and takes a letter. As we said in previous lectures how reduce works. Base case is anything you determine here. So if you take 0, it will be 0. But here we will make it an object because we need an object for all letters, because letter is, say your word is each. A letter in reduce represents each element in your array. So your base is an object, your letter is each element in your array. So how do we make this or populate this object with key value pairs from letter and frequency? Well, let's say base in the position of letter. Now this creates what? This creates something like this. Say for each, for example, let's say if the word is each, it creates something like E, but we still don't have value. A, we still don't have value, but it creates something like this, which is equal to. Now, how do we determine this part of value? Well, we could say 0 at first, but that will always be 0. Any letter, even if it's repeated, it will be 0. So we could do something else. We could say base in the position of letter or 0 plus 1. Now this is the difficult part where some people may not understand at first. When we say base in the position of letter or 0, at first, the first time it goes through each, base in the position of letter is always undefined because we still haven't even returned base in the position of letter. So it's undefined, it goes to 0 plus 1, which makes it 1. So the first letter for each E is 1. Now if there was another E, it will take this because it would be 1 and add 1, it would make it 2. So there are two 2's. So basing the position of letter, this is a key. You can create it out of anything. But a value, when you say basing the position of letter, and it goes through base like your object and looks for the position of letter, and there is still nothing, it's undefined, so it will take 0 plus 1 the first time. Okay, so that was like the most difficult thing in this anagram. But then we have to return base. So don't do return here, return later when you create it and when you calculate it. So that's the first word. The second word is exactly the same. So we just repeat it, but this time name it word2 for string2. And we do the same process. Now we have objects like E1, A1, sorry, object is like this, and then C1, and then H1, something like this, and the second word is the same. So we have two objects. But how do we compare these two objects? Well, we have to compare the keys and frequencies, and there are many ways to do it. For example, if the length is the same, then if each letter has the same value. But in JavaScript, we have something called Object.keys. Sorry, before doing that, just to give you more like a visual element, let's do word1 and do word2, and const result equals anagram, let's say calculate hellos. So we gave two words, string1 calculate, string2 hello, and we don't even need console because there is already console. So we just call it and we go to our console, and if I like zoom it in, we see A2, C2, E1, L1, T1, U1. That's for calculate. We have two calculate, C, calculate. We have two A's, we have one E, like that. For hello, we have one E, one H, one L, one O. Okay. So we have we know what we've created. Now Object.keys. Let's say word1, and let's just console to see what it does. This give us. We see calculate. Okay, because calculate, like there are two C's, but in our function, when there is the key already, we just increment the value, so we don't have two C's. We have C-A-L-U-T-E, like that. So Object.keys just gives us the key of objects that we specify here. Now .every, how does every work? Well, let me give you a I think this will give us a problem now, but let's say const numbers equals 1 2 3 4 5 6 5. Now we could say numbers const final equals numbers every item, where item is greater than 0, I guess, and console.log final. And it's true. So every evaluates every item in your array for the condition. If all of them are true, then it returns true. But even if one of them is false, it returns false. So basically everything should meet this condition if you use every. That's how every works. It's another important higher order array function. So we use it to check if every character in every object, every key in every object is has the same value in the other. So let's just name it character because we want the keys from this. And it's a function just like takes a function just like any other higher order array. Well, word 1 in the position of char is equal to word 2 in the position of char. Now, what does it do? It takes the keys CAL, U, TE, every, it takes all characters. Then it comes here, this object where we created, from the position of char, so from the position of C, is equal to where 2 from the position of, we don't even have C, so it returns false. But if this was C, it would, like, you know, check the frequencies if the values are the same. So now if we do, we have to return this, sorry. Now if we do console.log result, we no longer have final here, so let's do, it's false. But what if we do it to cinema and Iceman? Well, that's true. But even if we add one more n, that's false. Or if we add one more a here, that's false. So our function for anagram works. We create an object by using split and reduce from both strings that we are given. Then we take the objects from one of the we take the keys from one of the objects we made, then we map through it because Object.keys creates an array of keys from that object. We map through it, and for every character from like that array, for every key, we see if the first object in that position of that key is equal to the second object from that position for that key. If it was, then our anagram is complete. If it's not, then it's not complete. You could also do things like you know, just format your code a bit better, something like this. And since this part is probably all the same, we could do it the same for this and just pushed here. And finally we could do it for this, just to know like which operations you are doing at which time. This like helps you visually to be more, you know, aware. On string 1 we do split first, so we create an array of letters, then through a reduce we create an object. The object where keys is equal to 1, or if it's more than 1 the letter, then we make it equal to 2. Then through Object.keys we take objects from one of the words, then from that array where we create from Object.keys we run through every character. If every key in the first object is equal to every key in the second object, then we have an anagram. If not, we don't. So thank you.